At my boyfriend's birthday party, I drew a dare during a game. I had to sit on his lap and make out with him in front of everyone. My lips were just about to meet Henson Ward's when a comment glided across my vision. Does this side chick really think she's hot stuff? Doesn't she know this kind of behavior just makes her look cheap in the ML size? I froze. A few more comments scrolled past. The thing is, the FL is also on the scene. The more desperate the side chick acts, the more it highlights the FL's poise and mystery. The side chick hooked the ML in the first place with these bold, overstepping moves. Later, when he tried to break up with her, she even went to his company, stripped, and tried to seduce him. Turns out he was in the middle of an international video conference. He turns her down cold, and the whole thing gets live-streamed to a global audience. Her family's so ashamed of her that they have her committed to a psychiatric hospital. LOL. I stopped what I was doing. I'm out. There's no way I can pull off this mission. It wasn't until I saw the comments that I realized Henson's gaze had long since wandered away from me. At the sound of me surrendering, he seemed to pull his thoughts back from far away, a flicker rippling in his deep, unfocused eyes. He turned to look at me. Not going through with the kiss? The entire room fell into a silence, as if someone had hit the mute button. Only a few people could still be heard whispering. That's the woman who confessed to Mr. Ward all over social media the day they met, then tracked him to this party the next day and cornered him in the bathroom hallway to kiss him. Now that is bold. Mr. Ward sure is a lucky guy. I just wonder when luck like that will come my way. Probably whenever he gets tired of her, haha. Everyone watched my reaction, some holding up their phones to record, waiting for another shocking move. But I did nothing, just lowered my gaze. More comments flew past. LMAO, such a short dress, and she's sitting on his lap. Her butt's practically hanging out. People are filming here. If I were the ML, I'd be embarrassed too. Cut her some slack. The side chick is just being passionate. It's not like she's committed some unforgivable sin. Does she really deserve to be torn apart like this? Exactly. The people around her clearly know their videos are going to capture her private areas, and none of them bother to warn her. Isn't that way worse? See, this is why girls need to have some self-respect. I glanced down at myself. Today was Henson's birthday, and I'd worn my favorite skirt, a red velvet slip dress that hugged my curves perfectly. To everyone else, it made me look cheap and shameless. I slid off Henson's lap. His left hand rested casually on my thigh, his right on my waist, fingers tensing slightly. He didn't stop me. Once I was off, he pulled his hands back, swirling his glass idly. The comments mocked me. Does she really think this whole pull away and play hard to get act is attractive? But the ML isn't even looking at her. He's checking out the FL instead. Oops. I followed Henson's gaze. There was only one girl there, my roommate, Abia Moore. Last month, after some scumbag player messed with her feelings, she'd been feeling pretty down. I didn't have the heart to leave her alone in our rental apartment, so I brought her along to Henson's birthday party. So I'd basically handed Henson a perfect new option on a silver platter. I smiled bitterly and raised my glass. Henson stopped me. You're not much of a drinker. Let me handle it. He was always like this. Even when his mind was elsewhere, his upbringing kept him polite and gentlemanly. Like the day I'd pinned him to that bathroom hallway, his first question had been, "What's wrong? Did something upset you?" We were from completely different worlds. He was with me only out of novelty. What right did I have to think I was the one for him? As he drank the second cup, I stood up. Sorry, I'm not feeling well. I'll head out. Enjoy yourselves. I walked over to Abia. I'm heading home. Are you coming? Abia bit her lip and glanced toward Henson, her eyes full of reluctance. More comments floated into view. Is the side chick doing this on purpose? Why is she trying to drag the FL away? No. The FL is about to draw a dare and belt out a song in front of everyone, and then the whole room is going to be blown away by her voice. Thanks to these comments, I finally understood everything. It turned out that Henson, Abia, and I were just characters in a book. In the original plot, Henson and Abia met at this birthday party. After learning Abia had extraordinary musical talent but couldn't afford further studies due to her poor background, Henson funded her enrollment at Berklee College of Music. And they gradually fell in love along the way. And me? When I noticed Henson's changing attitude, I'd clung to him desperately, only pushing him further away. I'd become the glue that brought the main couple together. But why did it have to be me, who lost everything? Let them do whatever they wanted from now on. It had nothing to do with me. I was done being a side chick. You can stay if you want. You've met everyone anyway. I'm leaving. I turned to leave. Abia hesitated for a moment before standing up to follow me. That was when Henson strode over and grabbed my wrist outside the suite. Carrie, what's gotten into you? Why the attitude all of a sudden? Before I could speak, Abia cut in. Please don't blame Carrie. I suddenly felt unwell, so I asked her to leave with me. She tugged at my sleeve. Right, Carrie? More comments flooded in. My sweet girl, why do you have to be so kind? The side chick just ruined your moment. I'm literally crying. Even now, she's still looking out for the side chick. Abia grew up reading Balzac and listening to Beethoven. She's practically a paragon of virtue. Unlike certain side chicks, my background was indeed messy. But was Abia really as noble as the comments claimed? We'd been roommates in college and stayed in the same city after graduating, sharing a small apartment. 6 months ago, Abia said a jerk had broken her heart. She'd gone to therapy and taken antidepressants, but nothing helped. Eventually, she couldn't even go to work, staying cooped up at home moping. I couldn't stand it, so I'd stepped up for her. So I'd gone to that party, poured a glass of wine on the jerk, slapped him, and exposed his two-timing ways to everyone. Only then did Abia show up late. What had she said? It's okay, Carrie. We weren't even official. He didn't actually do any real harm to me. It's just, I started questioning everything about the world, don't think I can trust men anymore. I ended up being the irrational, dramatic fool who made a public scene, the one people pointed fingers at and called crazy. Meanwhile, Abia was the reasonable, understanding one who walked away without a speck of dirt on her. I'd been furious, drunk several glasses, and gone to the bathroom to calm down. Coming out, I'd run into Henson leaning against the hallway wall, scrolling his phone. The day before, my boss had invited Henson to tour the company, and as the receptionist, I'd handled the initial reception. It had been love at first sight. I'd confessed my feelings to him all over social media right after. But I never expected to see him here. After that night, I might never get this close to him again for the rest of my life. With that thought in mind, I mustered my courage, pinned him against the wall, and kissed him. Thinking back, I felt nothing but irony. I hadn't seen the comments back then. If I had, they'd probably have called me names too. And Abia? How could she be wrong? She was just too pure, too kind, too naive about the world. She'd never told me to do anything. It had all been my own doing, reckless, unreasonable, blind. At Abia's words, Henson frowned slightly, his gaze fluttering. Where exactly do you feel unwell? Do you need me to take you to the hospital? I scoffed internally. Yeah, she has moderate depression, bipolar disorder, and somatic symptoms. If you have time, take her to a therapist. The commenters panicked. Is the side chick crazy? Why is she suddenly bringing all this up in front of the ML? The FL never once mentioned any of this herself. The ML was supposed to slowly discover her hidden trauma over time. That's what would have made him care for her even more. But a few comments actually took my side. What? Did the side chick lie? Who was the one constantly bringing up her trauma in front of the side chick, making her feel sorry for her, so she'd get invited to the birthday party in the first place? I've been sick of the FL harping on about that scumbag for ages. It wasn't even a real relationship. How many times does she need to bring it up? She's trying to play the flawless angel and the victim of the world at the same time. Spare me. The side chick's probably got 10 times the trauma she does. Before either of them could react, I pulled my wrist free from Henson's hand and walked away without looking back. I went back to the apartment alone. I didn't want to think about what the two of them did after I left, whether they sang, whether they had some soul-to-soul talk. I just packed my things, ready to move out. I had no interest in getting tangled up in their fates anymore. I wanted to stay as far away from them as possible. The room was scattered with gifts Henson had given me, designer bags, jewelry, clothes, works of art. For the month we'd been together, he'd been generous. Every time we shopped, if I glanced at something twice, he'd buy it without checking the price tag. I'd hold expensive art pieces and ramble nonsense, while he'd watch me fondly and swipe his cards silently. I'd thought that was proof he loved me. But looking back now, what were those things compared to sending Abia to Berkeley? I'd nearly finished packing my belongings when someone knocked on the door. I thought it must be Abia coming back.
"Come in," I said.
The door opened, and a man stood there, Henson. Embarrassment and awkwardness washed over me, and my face turned deathly pale. In the month we'd dated, I'd spent over an hour getting ready every time I saw him, dressing up perfectly, trying to look worthy of him, at least on the outside. He'd offered to drive me home many times, and I'd always refused. I just didn't want him to see I lived in this shabby, cramped old neighborhood. "Why are you here?" Henson closed the door, his hands coming to rest on my waist. His breathing grew heavy. "You sure ran fast. I couldn't even catch up with you. Those people cornered me and gave me an earful for a good while. Tell me, how should I punish you?" I pushed him away and turned my back. Henson wrapped his arms around my waist from behind. "I was worried it might get too late and your roommate wouldn't be safe coming home alone, so I gave her a ride. Thought I'd check on you while I was at it." "What? Are you really mad?" So it was fine for me to come home alone, but Abia needed protection. Even checking on me was just a side trip. I shook my head. "Henson, let's break up." Henson froze for a second. Then he grabbed my wrist, flipped me over, and pinned me down on the bed. "Carrie, what's wrong with you tonight? What are you so mad about? Even a criminal gets told what they're guilty of before sentencing." He loomed over me like a mountain, pinning me in place. His deep eyes locked onto mine, as if trying to bore through me. I turned my head away. "Nothing. You did nothing wrong. I'm just tired. I don't like you anymore." My voice was calm, like still water. He suddenly leaned down to kiss me, his lips pressing hot and heavy on mine, my cheeks. Usually, I was the more aggressive one, clinging to him anywhere, anytime, kissing him nonstop. But this time, I just lay there stiffly, letting him do what he wanted, giving him no response at all. Slowly, his eyes turned cold. He pulled back to look at me, his Adam's apple bobbing as he fought to contain himself. "Carrie, you said you had a birthday gift for me. Where is it?" I'd hinted at it more than once, that for his birthday, I'd give myself to him as a gift. Thinking back, I really was pathetic, treating my body like a present. If I didn't respect myself, how could I expect others to? But no one had ever taught me how to love someone the right way, without looking pathetic. I'd only ever copied what I'd seen. But I'd been wrong. That kind of pattern would only lead me to the same ending as that person. I didn't want that. Not anymore. I turned back to meet his gaze, my face blank. "We're breaking up. If I gave you a gift, you'd just have to return it later. Too much trouble. By the way, all the things you gave me are here. You can take them on your way out. Or give me an address, and I'll ship them to you." Henson stared at me, stunned, like he couldn't believe what he'd heard. After a long moment, his eyes darkened, and he kissed me again. This time, the kiss was fierce, 1,000 times more intense than before. I could feel his reason slipping, his body losing control. As the moment grew heated, more comments appeared. "Wait a minute. I remember the original story. After the birthday party ended, the side chick practically dragged the ML to a hotel, but he got turned off because she'd been acting too wild in the private room. What's going on here?" "Yeah. I recall that when the side chick said she wanted to give herself to him as a gift at the hotel, the ML looked so disgusted, he was about to call the cops. Why is he suddenly making the first move? It must be the side chick's playing hard to get finally working."
"No."
Wasn't the ML's first time supposed to be with the FL in California a year from now? What's this supposed to mean? Is he going to be tainted now? I scoffed. My roommate's next door. What if I can't help making a little noise later? Or, is that what you want? You want her to hear? Henson froze. After a moment, he leaned down again. So, what if she does? He kissed my cheek recklessly, his hot lips filled with a desperate, almost irrational urgency. I had no idea what was going through his mind, but I knew I didn't want this. I loved him, deeply and passionately, but that didn't mean I'd let myself be nothing more than an outlet for his desire. I turned my head away. As he roughly tore open the skirt I'd carefully chosen just to please him, a tear slipped unbidden from the corner of my eye. Henson stopped again, this time for a long moment. He let go of me and tried to help me put the skirt back on, but it was already ruined. He took off his jacket and draped it over me. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Then he turned and walked out the door. Great. Even though there was a little detour, everything's back on track in the end. The ML has finally lost interest in the side chick. And on the way home, the FL opened up to him, and he's already offered to send her to Berkeley. But something feels off to me. When the ML agreed to it in the car, his face was completely blank. It didn't look like genuine concern, more like he was tossing her some spare change. He seemed genuinely affected by the side chick just now. What is going on? He's definitely into her, I saw it. Ugh. I ignored the comments, pulled out my phone, and sent a message. Early the next morning, I finished packing my luggage and carried it downstairs. A black Maybach, completely out of place in the shabby neighborhood, was parked by the curb. The door opened, and a woman in an elegant dress with flawless makeup stepped out in high heels. "My sweet girl, you've been staying in this dump all this time? You really went out of your way to make life hard on yourself, didn't you? It kills me to see this." She pulled me into a hug. I mumbled, "Mom," then followed her into the car. The car drove through the old streets, up a winding mountain road, and stopped in front of a mansion halfway up the hill. I stood at the gate for a long time before walking inside. In the living room, a man sat rigidly on the sofa, holding a book. Mom nudged my waist. "What are you standing there for? Say hello to your dad." My lips moved, but no sound came out. "Forget it," the man said, glancing up. "If she thinks she's too good for me, why come back now?" My throat felt tight, like stuffed with a damp cloth. I'd only learned the truth when I turned 18. My mother had been the mistress of the wealthy businessman Chas Thorpe, and I was his illegitimate daughter. After Chas's first wife died, Mom became his legal wife and moved into the Thorpe mansion. But I couldn't accept it. I'd made excuses every summer and winter vacation during college to avoid coming home. After graduating, I found a job and kept my distance from them. Chas had been furious and told Mom not to contact or support me anymore. This phone call I had made to her was the first time in 5 years I had reached out. Just as I gathered the courage to say, "Dad," another car pulled up at the gate. Someone got out and walked into the living room, stopping short when they saw me. "Carrie?" I looked up. It was Rory Thorpe, Chas's son from his first marriage, 2 years older than me. I froze, unsure how to react. I'd always been a little scared of Rory. He'd been the high school bully, and everyone feared him. When I turned 18, the same year his mom died, he'd found out about my background. He'd driven back from college just to corner me against a wall, saying he'd never acknowledge me as a sister, and he'd nearly strangled me. Back then, the hatred in his eyes had burned like fire. But now his gaze was surprisingly calm. I gathered my courage and spoke tentatively. "Rory." Rory looked a little surprised. He glanced around the room, then nodded at me politely before heading straight upstairs. Perhaps it was Rory's politeness that gave me the courage. I called out to him again. "Rory, can you get me a job at the company?" Chas's health had been poor, and he'd handed control of Thorpe Group to Rory 2 years ago. At my words, everyone in the room froze. Even Chas put down the book he was holding. Rory smirked, amused. "What? Here to fight me for the family fortune?" No, I said, suddenly nervous. "I just want to learn from you." For years, I'd refused to accept my background and lived alone. But aside from being young and pretty, I had no real skills. The only jobs I could find were the kind where I stood at a front desk as eye candy, drifting through each day in a daze. But now I wanted to change. I didn't want to be called cheap anymore. I didn't want to be sized up with those shallow, leering looks anymore. The creator of this world had made me a mistress's daughter, a sin I'd been born into. But it was also a chance. Instead of clinging to pride and cutting myself off from my family, I'd use what they had to build something real for myself. Rory tapped the armrest, thinking for a moment. Report to the CEO's office tomorrow. Comments popped up again, revealing new details I'd never known. Wow, second MLS makes his entrance. Oh, so this is him? 2 years from now, when the FL comes back from Berkeley, the second ML throws a fortune at her to sign her. When she refuses, he turns nasty, has her kidnapped. I remember that blew up and their company got investigated. The Thorpe empire collapsed, and the ML bought it cheaply. I'm totally shipping the FL with the second ML. That creepy, obsessive vibe is just chef's kiss. Wait, no. Didn't the second ML show up when the side chick made a fool of herself on a global scale? I remember he absolutely despised his cheap, reckless half-sister and personally had her committed to a mental hospital. So, why is the story different again? I read through the comments silently, vowing never to let any of that happen. I packed up all the gifts Henson had given me, left them by the door, and sent them to his office via courier. He called me over 100 times and sent endless messages, but I ignored all of them. Abia's text said he'd even gone looking for me at my old apartment. The commenters were frantic. What's going on? Isn't the ML supposed to ignore the side chick, making her chase him and cause drama? Where's the big humiliation scene for the side chick? Why do people get so happy watching her suffer? I think her choice is great. Right. Why does the side chick have to revolve around them? Can't she have her own life? I didn't see what the fuss was about. This was perfect. My leaving gave the main couple space. I threw myself into work. With no real professional skills, Rory was so frustrated that he almost made me a receptionist again. After I begged him relentlessly, he enrolled me in a 2-year business management program. I studied day and night, pushing Henson and Abia far from my mind. Once I stayed away from them, the comments stopped appearing. 2 years passed. I finished the program and became Rory's assistant. I stumbled through it at first, but Rory didn't expect much, and I gradually got the hang of it. Soon, social media exploded with one headline: Prodigy Abia Moore returns from Berkeley, shaking up the entertainment industry. Everyone wondered which agency she'd sign with. Top companies lined up, and even a pop diva greeted her at the airport, putting on a show of friendship for the cameras. But Abia said nothing to the press, leaving everyone guessing. Rory saw me staring at the news and tapped my forehead out of nowhere.
Ouch.
That hurt. He grinned. Isn't that your college roommate? How about I sign her to our company for you? Absolutely not. Weren't you close? Jealous she's a star now. Want me to give you a makeover too? With a face like yours, getting into showbiz wouldn't be hard. Don't be ridiculous. I shot him a glare, panicking inside. Was Rory going to set his sights on Abia after all? For the next few days, I kept a close eye on his schedule, stepping in immediately if he might cross paths with Abia. Strangely, he never brought her up again. I saw Abia again at the Starlight Gala held by a streaming platform. As a business partner, Rory was invited, and naturally I went with him. That night, Abia walked the red carpet on Henson's arm. She wore a floor-length white gown covered in crystals, her face soft and demure, looking as pure as a mermaid fresh from the ocean. Beside her, Henson was dressed in a dark suit, exuding elegance and privilege. Together, they looked like the perfect couple. Rory noticed my gaze and waved a hand in front of my face.
What?
Missing your ex and thinking of getting back together? I shot him a glare and walked away. He followed. Come on, don't deny it. Back in the day, your little Henson chase was the talk of the entire social circle. The way you went after him, I was honestly worried you might do something crazy. But then, why did you suddenly go cold? He glanced toward the red carpet and nodded thoughtfully. Was it because of Abia? I gave him another look, this time pure exasperation. Will you just shut up? Rory really talked too much, nothing like the creepy, obsessive man the comments described. At the end of the red carpet, reporters swarmed around Henson and Abia. Mr. Ward, word is your group launched a new subsidiary focused on entertainment. Are you planning to break into showbiz? Mr. Ward, Did you start the entertainment company specifically for Abia? Abia, paparazzi spotted you entering a hotel with Mr. Ward the other day. Do you have anything to say about that? Henson shielded Abia as they walked past the reporters. At the last question, Abia paused. She lifted her eyes, glancing casually toward where I stood. Mr. Ward and I are old acquaintances. It's only natural we walk together when we run into each other. Her voice was sweeter and more alluring than 2 years ago, leaving reporters plenty to speculate about. A reporter turned to Henson. Mr. Ward, could you tell us how you and Abia met? Henson looked down at Abia, his gaze following hers to me before quickly looking away. Without answering, he pulled Abia away. Backstage, Henson shoved Abia roughly into a chair, leaning over her with a dark expression, his chest heaving. Who gave you permission to say those things in front of the reporters? Abia hadn't expected him to explode like this. Over the past 2 years, she'd noticed his personality had shifted, moody and unpredictable, nothing like the calm, composed man at his birthday party. Still, she hadn't thought a single comment would trigger such anger. She looked up at him, forcing a smile. I only told the truth. Why are you so upset? Henson grabbed her by the throat, his eyes sharp and flickering. Terrified, Abia's hands went to his waist, her voice soft and pleading. Here now. Henson pushed her away hard. Her arm hit the edge of the table, sending items crashing to the floor. Henson gritted his teeth. From now on, you do nothing unless I say so. And you speak only when I tell you to. Do you understand? Abia watched him leave with a bitter smile. That night, the musical prodigy didn't appear again at the gala. The planned headline about Abia signing with Ward Entertainment never ran. In a quiet corner no one noticed, Henson rushed to the parking lot and blocked the car Rory and I were in. Comments flooded my vision like a glitch. Has Henson lost his mind? Does he even know what he's doing? Unbelievable. The ML snaps at the FL, then chases the side chick. What was the author thinking when writing this mess? Actually, I think it's kind of interesting. The whole MLFL section before was so bland it felt like filler. I was about to drop this. Are you just now getting it? The ML never saw the FL as anything but a stand-in for the side chick. Don't forget, the timing of their first time changed too. It happened when he went looking for the side chick. And it was in the side chick's bed. The FL knows that perfectly well. Why else would she always try so hard to imitate the side chick? But the side chick has a natural allure. The FL was never that type. By copying her, she just loses what makes her unique and comes off as tacky. If she's willing to debase herself like that, who's there to blame? Looks like the side chick has developed a mind of her own. She escaped the original setup of being a mere tool. Meanwhile, the ML, unable to have her, has gone from a graceful young gentleman to a creepy, obsessive mess. Interesting. I read them without a flicker of emotion, then looked away coldly. Something wrong? Rory asked lazily, leaning back. I glanced at Henson, who stood in front of the car. Rory, can you go handle this for me? Tell him I'm not here. Rory got the hint and stepped out. He adjusted his sleeves and announced, Carrie says she's not here. I stared, lost for words. Henson shot a look at Rory and moved to get into the car. Rory pulled him back roughly. Henson's face turned dark. Who are you? Rory cracked his knuckles, looking like someone you didn't want to mess with. None of your business. Get Carrie down here. I need to talk to her. Rory shot him a disdainful look. Someone who's dead should stay in their grave. Henson finally snapped. He threw a punch at Rory, but his fist hit nothing but air. Rory had already seen it coming. He sidestepped and, from behind and to the side, delivered a sharp kick to the back of Henson's calf. Thud. Just like that, Henson dropped to one knee right beside my car door, completely caught off guard. Even I flinched at the sound. Rory slipped back into the car, hands in his pockets, looking insufferably smug. Still the same tough guy who'd ruled high school. He pulled the door shut again, but it didn't close all the way, because Henson, still on one knee, had blocked it with his hand. His deep-set eyes searched the interior of the van and found me, tucked away in the shadows. Carrie, I've looked for you for 2 years. Where have you been? What did I do wrong? How could you be so heartless, breaking up with me out of nowhere and then vanishing without a trace? I pried his fingers off one by one. Long, slender, elegant, the same hands I'd admired when I first met him at the front desk, signing his name with a pen. Such pretty hands didn't deserve to get hurt. You couldn't find me, so you slept with Abia? In my bed. My voice turned cold. Do you love me, or do you love the version of yourself that's hurt and obsessed because you can't have me? I ignored his hand and closed the door, crushing his fingers. His skin turned red. I opened it again. His face flushed with pain, veins popping on his forehead, but he wouldn't let go. I closed it again. After a few times, Rory sighed, pushed me aside, and took over the door. He grinned at Henson. Brace yourself. I'm a lot stronger than her. He slammed the door shut. A loud crash echoed in the parking lot. Rory meant it. Henson pulled his hand away just in time. Otherwise, it would have been a lot worse than a little red mark. Rory returned to his seat, looked at the driver, and said coldly, "Drive." The car pulled away. Henson took a few steps after us, then stopped. The air inside the car turned icy cold. After a long silence, Rory spoke. Having second thoughts? I shook my head.
No. How could I?
Actually, I had already known about what the comments mentioned, and I had known for 2 years. Back then, the messages Abia sent me weren't just about Henson showing up at our apartment. She had deliberately let slip that they had slept together in our apartment that day, dropping hints to rub it in my face. He came over drunk that night, and it just sort of happened. I'll pretend it never happened. I won't get between you two. I'd been disgusted. I'd blocked both of them that day. It proved Henson only wanted me physically, maybe wanted to own me, but he never loved me. A man who truly loved me would never let that happen, drunk or not. Rory sighed and patted his shoulder. Cry if you need to. I've got a shoulder for you. I blinked. Then I whacked his shoulder hard. Henson ran the license plate and found out the car belonged to Rory, CEO of Thorpe Group. He searched everywhere for Rory's relationship with Carrie and asked friends for help, but found nothing. Not even Abia knew. One of his friends said, "Come on, Henson. What's so special about that girl that you can't get over her? A hot body." Yeah, and her thing with that Thorpe guy is obviously more than just friends. They've probably already slept together. That girl's wild. I bet she's been with plenty of guys.
Exactly.
I heard her mother was a mistress. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, you know? Henson clenched his jaw. His grandparents came from a scholarly family with strict rules. Out of rebellion, he had fallen in with these aimless rich kids. He had never been the type to gossip and judge others like they did, but he had learned to tune it out. This was the first time he found those kinds of words so grating. He'd never understood why he couldn't forget Carrie. He'd had plenty of women, and Carrie was just the hottest, the most stunning figure, the most daring, the one who went after what she wanted without hesitation. But when he saw her again after 2 years, it finally hit him. It was the thrill of being with her. That feeling of stepping outside the lines. It gave him room to breathe. "Shut up, all of you." He cut them off. But his friends didn't take him seriously. If anything, they doubled down. One of them pulled out his phone and brought up a video, the one recorded in the private room 2 years ago. Carrie had drawn a dare. She swayed her slender waist over to Henson, sat down on his lap, wrapped her arms around his neck, and right as she was about to kiss him, she suddenly stopped. Even though the video cut off there, Carrie's sizzling, bold presence was already impossible to miss. The guy leered at the video. "To be honest with you, Henson, that chick is something else. The past 2 years, I must have watched this video more times than I can count Before he could finish, Henson punched him hard, sending him crashing to the floor. "Don't let me hear that kind of talk again." Henson turned and walked away without another word. Memories from 2 years ago slowly surfaced in his mind. That was when she had suddenly gone cold on him, for no apparent reason. But no matter how hard he racked his brain, he still couldn't figure out what he had done wrong to deserve such a ruthless cutoff. In the midst of his tangled thoughts, a comment from earlier suddenly echoed in his head. Her mother was a mistress. He followed that lead. And finally, he found the answer. Without hesitation, Henson drove straight to the Thorpe Group. As the CEO's assistant, part of my daily routine was helping Rory receive clients. But I never expected that one day the client would be Henson. It only took me 2 seconds to accept the reality of it. I didn't run. I didn't hide. I just treated him like any ordinary client, strictly business. Please wait here for a moment. Mr. Thorpe is still in a meeting, Carrie. Henson stopped me. Rory is your stepbrother? I nodded. Then you too, how could you? What about us? I asked. Do you think I'm that cheap? That I'd sleep with any man? Is that how you see me? Henson's frown eased, relieved. He stepped closer, until I could hear his breathing, his heartbeat. Then why can't you forgive me? He grabbed my wrist. I still don't understand. What did I even do wrong back then? Why did you have to leave me? What did he do wrong? Of course he didn't understand. Because he was a man. To him, wandering eyes, occasional carelessness, drunk mistakes, none were wrong. Neither was looking down on me. The comments had simply laid it all bare for me, how wrong we were for each other. They had made it impossible for me to keep lying to myself, to keep pretending not to see. I pried his fingers away. You did nothing wrong. You just remind me of the man I hate most. I don't like you anymore. That's all. I looked at him with cold indifference. Back when I first said I didn't like him, maybe I hadn't fully meant it.
But now?
Time had passed. Everything had changed. Seeing this man standing in front of me again, stripped of the halo my infatuation had once placed on him, for the first time, I saw him clearly.
He was so shallow.
So ordinary. Without a moment's hesitation, I turned and walked away. I went looking for Rory, but as I reached the conference room door, I heard a woman's voice coming from inside, coaxing, sycophantic. My mind went blank. I immediately understood what might be about to happen in there. Just as I was about to turn around and leave, Rory's voice came through the door as well. Are you sure you want to take your clothes off in here? I'm in the middle of a video conference, you know. I froze. The meeting room door opened, and a girl ran out crying. As she brushed past me, I recognized her. It was Abia. I stared, confused. You there? Eavesdropping at the door. Get in here and take some meeting notes. Rory called me into the conference room, but the drama unfolding on the other side was just too good to miss. Abia clutched her clothes as she ran, drawing stares from the office staff. They recognized her and pulled out their phones to record. She reached the elevator and crashed straight into Henson, who'd followed me. She clung to him, sobbing. Henson, don't leave me. You can't do this to me. Henson tried to shake her off, but she wouldn't let go. Comments popped up again. OMG. The treatment the original side chick got, it's happening to the FL now. And the second ML is the one doing it. Did the author secretly swap the FL and the side chick? Probably, because the original side chick's fate was too tragic. The reader's outcry was too loud, so the author rewrote the FL's role? That happens sometimes. I still remember not being able to sleep after the new version of Bella chose Jacob instead of Edward. But the FL is suffering too. What did she even do wrong? Just then, Rory closed his laptop, walked out, grabbed me by the ear, and dragged me into the conference room. I never noticed how nosy you are. I peeked outside and asked what had happened. Only after Rory explained did I understand. It turned out that Abia's so-called prodigy image had all been manufactured by Henson. But for some reason after that gala, every bit of promotion and every trending headline had been shut down. Abia had fallen from her pedestal almost overnight. The bubble had burst. No one cared anymore. That was when she showed up on her own and barged into Rory's conference room, hoping that, thanks to her old connection with me, he would throw his weight behind her career. But Rory was not exactly the easygoing type. Rory had asked her, "Would you do anything I say?" Abia got the hint. Before he could say more, she'd climbed onto his lap and started undressing. That was when Rory told her he was in the middle of a video conference. "Damn, you are evil," I said, pursing my lips. Rory crossed his arms, grinning proudly. Just average. More comments appeared. Who said the second ML was creepy. He's literally a golden retriever in human form. Honestly, when I read the original version, I always thought the second ML's feelings for the FL came out of nowhere. It felt less like he genuinely wanted to sign her, and more like he was trying to get back at her for making his stepsister lose her mind. Only creepy when his sister's hurt. Don't say that. Now I'm kind of shipping the brother and sister. I shook myself out of a daze. You know what? You should really find a girlfriend soon. Someone to keep you in line. Rory's gaze drifted past me and out the window. No rush. I won't end up like Dad, messing up people's lives.
My heart sank.
Yeah, neither of us wanted to become people like that. Rory, can you switch me to a different position? I feel like I'm still basically doing the same thing I did as a receptionist. Didn't I waste 2 years of studying? Rory shot me a look. Do you even know how many people are dying to get this job? And you're complaining? I'm not complaining. I just want more hands-on experience. In the end, Rory sent me to the toughest department, PR. You want experience? Then go get some real experience. The days that followed were a total whirlwind. My head was spinning every single day. Later, I heard office gossip. Abia slept with some directors, traded on her innocent looks and willingness to compromise, and got into movies. She then leaked stories about Ward Group. Authorities investigated, uncovered tax evasion, and fined the company heavily. Ward Group collapsed. One day, I saw Henson downstairs. Rumor had it he was there looking for funding.
I stared at him.
I couldn't help but think back to the first time I saw him at the front desk of my old company. He had been so impeccably dressed in that tailored suit. Elegant, refined, radiant. So beautiful. Now, even though he didn't look all that different from that first impression, there was something about him that seemed bent out of shape, as if his very spirit had been drained away. He was practically a walking corpse. But I didn't feel sorry for him. I didn't even care. After all, before I chose this path, if I had been thrown into a mental hospital because of the humiliation he brought upon me, he probably wouldn't have cared either. The comments had been gone for a long time now. Maybe, in the eyes of those spectators, this drama had already reached its ending. But my life was still going on. I turned my gaze to the world outside. The sky outside was bright, clear, and full of infinite possibilities. Just like my future.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's lesson is simple. If a story starts with you chasing a billionaire and ends with you discovering you're actually the CEO's sister, congratulations, you were never in the romance arc, you were in the character development DLC. Carrie spent 1 month chasing a man and 2 years upgrading herself. Result? The billionaire lost his company. The perfect angel roommate lost her reputation. The comment section lost its mind. Meanwhile, Carrie was over there like, interesting. Anyway, back to my MBA. The real moral is, never fight over a man when you can fight for a promotion. Because while Henson was collecting emotional damage, Carrie was collecting qualifications. Also, if a guy ignores you for another girl, sleeps with that girl in your apartment, then comes back 2 years later asking, "What did I do wrong?" Sir, the fact that you're asking is the answer. And shout out to Rory, who entered the story looking like a future supervillain but turned out to be an aggressive golden retriever with a corporate title. Bro's entire personality was, need emotional support. Violently kicks billionaire into the pavement. Final lesson. Stop chasing people who are the main character of your problems. Become the main character of your own paycheck. If the universe gives you a toxic love triangle, turn it into a LinkedIn success story. Because the best revenge isn't making him jealous. It's making him schedule a meeting with your company because his company went bankrupt. 10 by 10 ending. Would choose career advancement over emotional nonsense again.